like this is going to be your best podcast ever.
Epicurean. But OFC and pink lemonade's pretty damn good. It'll put your boat in the marsh. Jesus did not die so you could eat yellow number 5. Excitable.
The nose starts off gentle with noticeable sense of grain that takes shape in the form of fresh baked bread.
Ma'am, you're in the wrong podcast. Educated-ish. I have used the term overproof for so long without really knowing what it
constitutes.
Because for
Is
me,
there a definition officially?
welcome to Bitches and Bourbon. And we're live. Hello, Reba. How are you doing this morning or evening or the fuck ever it is? Well,
actually, it is like that cusp of.
It's definitive. I appreciate you. You love me.
Evening.
You love me so good.
It's definitely not morning.
It's definitely not morning. And if that is a precursor to how this episode is going to go, I'm just fine with it. If you want to know the real truth.
I looked at the time and I'm like, well, I don't even know how. What do you call 5 o'clock?
Well, you know, they say when they call it cheers, darling. That's what they call it.
Cheers. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Right here. So they say that married couples kind of take on each other's traits. Mm-hmm. And my husband does that all the time. It doesn't matter when it is. He'll walk into like Lowe's at 7 o'clock at night and they go, "How are you, sir?" And he'll go, "Good morning." It's what he always says. I don't think I've ever heard him say good afternoon, or I don't think I've ever heard him say good evening. It is always good morning. But at any rate, so I want to tell you something.
Yes.
This is our 47th episode.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
That's awesome.
I think it's pretty great. I think it's pretty fantastic. And we have a lot of episodes in that you will have already heard. But for me and Reba, they are still in the pipeline. So we have recorded the part 2 of the Penelope.
Yes.
We have recorded an Island John vodka, which has a surprise guest. And we've done Iron Smoke and Smokehead. And so now, for us, this is the end of our summer. So I have to go back to school. Yes. And when
schedules change for everyone.
And so when I go, because when I go back to school, a lot of this stuff changes because my days are full, right? And so I thought what we would do today is we would sip on this infinity bottle that's gotten super full because
we've done a lot of bottles. And I was thinking, I don't think we can even do it by episodes anymore. I think we're just going to have to do it based on number of bottles because we've had a handful of episodes that have included more than one.
Especially this last little run.
Yes.
Right? We've done that. So
at least, 4, 5?
Yeah. So I thought what we would do, because what we would really had hoped to do was that the 47th episode would have fallen on my 47th birthday. That is never going to happen. There's 3 episodes to publish before this one even gets out, and my birthday was 25 days ago. So unless Marty McFly shows up with a DeLorean, it's not happening.
No. But it's okay.
It's fine. It's absolutely fine. And I'll tell you that some of the more recent episodes have been a little more difficult to edit because we've had guests, we've done multiple bottles, it kind of goes all over the place, and I think that's okay. What I would like to do tonight is just kind of sip on this infinity bottle, which I love, by the way. I think it has done beautiful
I agree.
things. We started watching The Crown. Have you seen it?
I have not.
It's so good. We're just getting to the part Camilla has just married Andrew Parker Boyles, and so Charles is completely crushed, but he hasn't met Diana yet. Okay. So we got to season 3 finale last night, and so I'm assuming that season 4 is the Diana episode or season. So anyway, we're watching that last night, and I'm like, I'm gonna make a drink, and so looked at the infinity bottle. I'm like, that's pretty full. And we've got some pretty spectacular recordings coming up.
Yes.
So maybe we kind of hit on that a little bit.
Yeah.
And so now that it's the end of our summer and we're just going to kind of hang out and sip on this infinity bottle, I thought we would just kind of look back on the last 46 episodes that we have done and just kind of talk about like where we've been, what we like, what we didn't like, what we'll keep, what will change,
Yeah.
and what you kind of thought about those things.
I'm very good with reflecting.
You don't think so? Okay, I'll tell you, it's all I've been doing the past 2 days.
Really?
Yeah, because this was the first summer that I've had off in a really long time.
Yeah.
And I thought I would really like it. And I really don't know that I did. I don't mean to say that. I did really like it, but there's something about a schedule that really does it for me.
Same here.
And I have none. Like,
Yes.
it has been fuck around and find out all summer long,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So yesterday Sunday I decided that I was going to get my schedule back on track. So I am at a successful day 2
Okay.
of the alarm going off at 4. And I have found a couple of things because I thought about it a lot on Sunday, like how do I make this work? One of the things that I haven't done in a really long time that I started to do again was setting my coffee pot in the evening.
Oh, yeah.
Because when the alarm goes off at 4, it's much easier to get out of bed when I know the coffee's already ready.
Yes.
Right?
Agreed.
So I did that. And for those of you out there that think I'm completely crazy for this 4 o'clock thing, you have to understand that's my most productive time of the day. If I can make it out of the bed, if I can make my feet on the floor, like between 4 and 9, I am on fire.
Yeah.
Like it's fantastic. But I know that my days are fixing to be really scheduled. So I'm like, how do I fit in all of these things that I do and still work this schedule?
Right.
And I realized that I cannot wait until I have finished my coffee or I need to take a shower to get my workout done, right? Like that just, if I don't make that first thing in the
Yeah.
day, it's just not going to happen. So I've got this really neat morning thing going on. Like I wake up at 4, I spend an hour piddling around the house, maybe start some laundry, fuck around on my phone, drink 2 cups of coffee, whatever. But then by 5 o'clock, I've got my workout clothes on and I'm out here and I do that from 5 to 6:30. And then at 6:30, I have to be in the shower. And then by 8 o'clock, I have to be ready. So that's worked out really well.
Good.
And so far, it's been really great. And so I've had a lot of time to kind of work on the podcast. We did some really cool things. So coming up for you very soon is we are going to have the Booze App guys on.
Yes.
We are going to have Lauren Patz, the head distiller
How exciting.
from Redwood Empire. We are going to have Lauren for Two Bitch Bourbon on. And so I'm super excited about all these cool things that are coming up.
Yes.
And then going back through and listening to some of the episodes, what I think I love the most is that we've never been afraid to show the way we move.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, it's real wobbly.
Right.
In the beginning, right?
And we own it.
Right? And then even these last couple of episodes when we have everybody over or when we do 3 bottles in a night, like it gets, right? It gets
Yes.
a little wild.
A little.
But
A little off track.
I love that we don't shy away from any of those things.
Yes.
And when I go back and I listen to it, it's just a lot of fun. One of the biggest hurdles that I hate that's even a hurdle, if you will, is our name.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Which we've talked about.
We did. But I think
Or no, that's the one that got cut out.
Yeah,
Fuck.
like we had this great conversation about our name.
It was a wonderful conversation.
About our name, because what happens is in some platforms when you go to share content and kind of try to get it out to the audience, certain platforms won't let you do that because we have bitches in the title, which is
Correct.
crazy because that word is everywhere. And so there was a small period of time. Actually, it happens pretty often, if I'm being really honest, about like
Yes.
should we change the name of the show? To which I gave very serious consideration. And I would like to thank Nick Cage
Yeah.
specifically for changing my entire mind.
Oh.
I found a documentary called The History of Swear Words.
Oh, yes.
It is really great. So it's each swear word gets its own episode.
Yes.
And so they do.
That was on Netflix, yeah?
Yeah, that's where I saw it. It's fuck, shit, bitch, damn, pussy, and dick. That's the other one. Okay, I couldn't remember. That's the episode so far. So I watched all of that.
Yeah.
And it's narrated, hosted by Nick Cage. And it's not a bullshit documentary. Like, so have you ever watched Drunk History?
I don't think so.
Girl, you have to.
Okay.
So they get historians, and Lin-Manuel Miranda does one about Hamilton, and they get these folks completely smashed and then have them tell the thing about history that they're experts in.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
I can imagine.
It's kind of like that, except for the people doing the work aren't drunk.
Okay.
But they are linguists, historians, professors, those kind of folks who have studied the history of words.
Legit information sharers.
Yeah, about how words become profanity, if
Yes.
you will. And so the episode on bitch was really great because they talked about how it really did become a subjugated term for women, but most ardently turned around by the queer population. That word bitch has really started to get a reclamation of what it means,
Yes.
of how it's used, and kind of taking the power back from the system of power that seeks to use it as a term of subjugation and offense.
Derogatory, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, yes. So now I think, don't hold me to this,
Okay.
but now I think that's what my master thesis is going to be on. The word bitch. And
Really?
Yeah, the working title is Now I'm a Bitch, right? And so in doing that, I went back through some scholarly articles and some books published by some professors that are in the field about just the history of the word bitch and the way it's used and what we
Yeah.
think about it and how it's
Perceived
been
and-
yeah. And so one of the books that I found is by an English professor, Michael Adams, and it is called In Praise of Profanity. So I'm going to read that, obviously.
Yes.
And so it just kind of brought me around to what it is we do here, why it is we do what we do here. If I'm being super honest, we always talk about how we just love to do it for fun.
Yes.
I would love to be a millionaire off of this thing, right?
Right.
Like, let's just be really honest. Like, I would love for that to be a really cool thing.
Yeah.
So you think about, have we positioned ourselves in the best way? Have we done all the things that we need to do to, like, make sure that we get it out there? Should we change things? Right up until the point where you realize that changing things means that you've given up a piece of your thought, a piece of yourself, a piece of who you
The
are.
development process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, fuck that shit. No.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I recall previous conversations that we've had about it, even before we went to start, actually recording, like, because we had the name for a while. And there were conversations, even before we started recording. So, I mean,
I'll be real transparent about that because you're right. We absolutely did. If I had known then what I know now, I may have started it out completely different.
yeah.
Because it's just so hard, right? You come in here, you work real hard, you do what it is you do, and then it's hard to get it out there because there's all of these ideas
Yeah.
about this word that just kind of block you up.
So you may have considered starting with a different name from the beginning.
Correct.
But since we've already gotten established.
And not only that, but now that I see the roadblocks for what they are, up close and personal, I would much rather do the work to bust them up.
Right.
So I'm glad I didn't know.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm glad I didn't know.
No regrets.
Well, I don't know about that.
No regrets.
So here we are on this great whiskey journey, and a lot of great things have happened over the last 2 weeks where I'm trying to get my shit together, and I listen to all the things that we do and the things that we don't do and the things that we do well and the things that we do not so great. And I think what I'm really excited about now is all of the folks that we have coming to hang out with us. Like, that makes me really excited. It was really funny. I have been working with Elliot Sneen to get Lauren from Redwood Empire on the show. That's who I've been working with.
Okay.
And throughout our confirmation and trying to get the details and everything worked out, he tells me, he says, after learning about your podcast name, she told me that once she attended a cocktail making class and was given the moniker the Sour Bitter Bitch due to her flavor preferences, of course. And I love that.
Yeah.
And then Two Bitch Bourbon is obviously happening. Two Bitch Bourbon is not available in our stores here. I had to order it online. The only reason I even knew that bourbon existed was because many people sent it to me.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey,
have you seen this?
Have you seen this? Like, maybe you guys should get together. And do some stuff. So and of course, Two Bitch Bourbon is more about puppies.
Yes.
We love puppies.
But also, once again, the way that the multi-use of the word.
And what's funny is they have a Facebook page.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's yes.
If you do a search about stuff that you can look for on different social media platforms that we can't get on, it's all over the place. But anyway, I don't care about that. I'm not going to get really excited about that. We're just going to do what it is we do.
Yes.
I guess this episode is going to be a little bit about how to start a podcast. Except for it's not.
Things to consider.
Because we really don't know, if you want to know the truth. Let me be real transparent with you. Here's what happens. Reba and I walk into the bitch barn. We sit down. I have lost a day in research because I love that shit. We pour a drink, set up mics, hit record, and voila. Like,
see what unfolds.
And that's what we do. Oh, speaking of seeing what unfolds and getting ready for the Booze App guys, I figured maybe we should do something a little more high-tech than holding my phone up to a microphone when we talk to somebody.
Yes.
And when it's people that we don't know, I think I would much rather see them because the interaction is different. Like, you and I sit across from each other.
Right.
Like, we can see each other. We're interacting.
Right.
There just happens to be microphones in our face.
We did FaceTime them last time, right?
Who?
Who's
yeah,
that?
but it wasn't for an episode. Right?
Yes.
They've never been on the show.
Right.
So sound quality becomes a thing.
Right.
Right? So I have got to say big thanks to Brian Judson, who answered my very weird ask on Facebook today when I really needed somebody to jump on a Zoom with me while I tested all of the things to figure out how to get this thing to work the way I wanted it to work before I looked like a complete ass in front of one of our guests. And he did, and we did, and so now you can be a guest on Bitches and Bourbon
Through Zoom.
So it's fantastic, and I'm happy about it, and we learned it, and I'm good.
Yay!
Where did that Basil Hayden's red wine cask finish come from?
I believe
Tamala, I think.
your birth.
Yeah, for my birthday party. I really want to open it,
Okay.
but I've done no research.
Hence why you just said we sit down and say what's going to unfold. So pull it up and we can do the research as we open it. And
Yeah, but I will tell you, that's another thing that, like, I've really got to get better at, right? Like, I've got to get better at, like, keeping the recordings on track. Because editing this shit is fun. It's really not. We could do...
Are you wanting to do an episode on it?
I really want to open it right now.
Right. And so...
If we could get
It's
somebody...
not an official episode, I guess is my point. And so you don't need to do research. We can still... Don't give me that look.
It's like you don't even know me.
I do, but I also know...
You don't need to do research? My whole brain just...
You don't need to do research to enjoy the flavor profile.
My whole brain just went...
No.
So I wish you could see Reba right now. Reba shows up today to record in a Bourbon Makes It Better t-shirt, which I'm in love with, by the way.
Yes, it is 100%. And if I'm having a slightly different track day, then I've got a Whiskey Helps one too.
Right? I have that one too.
I know.
Yeah, I have that one. Yes, I have that one too.
Yeah.
What?
Isn't this, you have this one too, don't you? Isn't that the one Sheila got you?
Yeah, we'll have to cut that out because I don't know where that shirt is.
Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna have to find it. No, Sheila, I'm sure I know where it is. Sheila, I'm certain. I'm certain I know where it is.
That part's irrelevant.
No,
anyway,
no. Yeah. No, I do. I think I do have that one too. I think I do know where it is. See, here's what happens.
What had happened was
when you have 5 girl children, most of which are at your house live here or are at your house on a fairly regular basis.
Yes.
I have clothes that I haven't seen in years.
Oh, I'm sure. I know your kids will show up and you're like, isn't that mine?
Facebook memories will come up.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
what the fuck happened to that?
where's that? That's a great shirt. Where the hell is that shirt? Over the weekend, we were at the farm and I'm fishing and the littlest little comes out and she's in my fucking pajama pants. And I'm like, those are my pajama pants and they're superheroes. And so I love them. And I'm like, whatever. I don't know. I don't even know. So I have a question for you. I'm going to put you on the spot again. I shouldn't even ask this, but I'm going to anyway. And I don't care. So you know the lineup that we have coming up, right? Of the folks that we have coming.
Yes.
Which one are you most excited about?
It's so hard. And I'm trying to remember some of the details because, like, it's all been kind of a blur and, like, I have driving brain fog. But I think I'm leaning towards being most excited about the 2-bitch bourbon. Just, obviously, I am kind of curious if they've run into similar difficulties at all. Or even just the feedback piece. I'm sure, again, like as we mentioned, it helps that they advertise it with pictures of the dogs. But I'm still kind of curious if they've received any kind of lashback about it. And I think the story's cool, which, I mean, we'll get into more later. But I'd say that those are probably kind of got me leaning towards that.
You hit on the exact question I cannot wait to ask them.
Yeah.
Like, tell me about the name.
Yes.
Like, I'm super curious to know, which I did tell her that that's one of the things I'm really interested in.
Yeah.
I think it's so hard, right? Because you're always so appreciative.
Yes.
But
I'm excited for all of them. And I have a hard time picking, but
for me, I feel like it's easier for me to pick a favorite simply because I think if geography was a different thing, I'm pretty sure Lauren Patz and I would be best friends. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a woman that comes from a wine family. She studied English.
yeah.
Taught in Japan. Now she makes whiskey. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Right?
I would understand that.
Like, I just think that in a different geographical setting, like, I think she would be a part of our circle.
Yeah.
Or we would be a part of her circle.
Yeah.
I'll take it either way, Lauren. Either way. Like, we can Venn diagram that
Yeah.
any way you want
we can be in some of the same circles.
Yeah, we can Venn diagram that however you want. I don't care. We're in.
Right.
Forgot to tell you.
Ah!
So, I belong to this group on Facebook, and it's called ShePodcasts. And
Yes.
it's a really cool group.
We've talked about.
Yeah, it's a really cool group. It's full of it's specifically for female podcasters. They have there's a huge population, and so to cut down on clutter, Tuesdays are designated on the Facebook page. It's called Pitch Yourself Tuesday. And Pitch Yourself Tuesday is where you can say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I talk about. would you like to be on my show or can I be on your show?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And so through this Pitch Yourself Tuesday, I became acquainted with Muffy Levins. So now when you think about Bitches and Bourbon and the way we started because we were women that enjoyed whiskey. Mm-hmm. And in the grand scheme of things, and I don't mean it to sound like a stereotype, but if you go to any place, anywhere, ever, whiskey is not the drink of choice for the majority of women. And the women that would like to learn more about whiskey feel slightly intimidated. Intimidated is the wrong word. I don't even like it. They feel a little overwhelmed by the male voices in the room. So that's why we're here.
Yes.
So Muffy Levins and her friend Stephanie have a podcast called Shut Your Five Hole and Listen.
Okay.
Now, because I don't know anything about their subject, I have no fucking idea what that title means.
Right.
Hockey. They are two women that sit around and talk about fucking hockey. Like, she's a Red Wings fan, Stephanie's a Devils fan, and they sit around and they talk about fucking hockey.
Wow.
And so when I saw that, I was like, I know nothing about hockey except for
this much. I enjoy watching it live.
That's exactly what I said.
Yes.
That is exactly what I said. I said I love to watch it live.
Yes.
But I don't know anything about hockey. Would love. So they're going to come on the show.
Very cool.
And what I love about that, I think why I'm as excited.
Do they drink?
I don't know. I didn't even ask.
Oh.
Don't even care. Because when I put our stuff on Pitch Yourself Tuesday, what I said was our guests can talk about pretty much whatever they want. If it's booze, great. We can talk about other drinks besides bourbon. If it's no booze at all, no worries. I can carry that part myself.
Nice.
Right? So I don't know. I didn't ask.
Okay.
But what I loved about it was you have a hockey podcast by women.
Yes.
And then when you go to their podcast page and you look at their description, twice a month they'll chat top hockey news, break down the basic rules so you too can throw shade at that dude. You know which dude we're talking about, sitting behind you at a game and round things out with some fun topics such as which team has the cutest dog. I love that. I was like, this is a chick I need on my show.
Yes.
There's another word. Like, if I can't use the word bitch, like, can you use the word chick?
Yeah.
Can you say chicken cocktails and chicks? Can you say that? Anyway, I'm not going back there. I always go, I'm going to circle back. That's a thing I'm not circling back to.
I mean, it's like the same thing like with saying cock, like when you're talking about roosters or, you know, like.
Yes. So maybe. So my brother does my lawn. And so maybe I came in one afternoon, drove in the driveway, and maybe there's a little metal rooster in my yard. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And so then my husband comes out, my brother comes up, and I'm like, hey, what's up with the metal rooster in the yard? And he looks at Mike and he goes, now my cock's in your yard. And I'm like, oh my God, are we fucking 15 all over?
Yes.
Evidently we are 15 all over again. So anywho, yes, but you're absolutely right. Like, context matters, which is why I said I wasn't going to circle back, but I obviously am. Which is why I'm really excited about this being a thing that I research academically.
And I can't wait to read it.
And the funniest thing is when I started to talk about it, my mother said you should absolutely do it. And
about your thesis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my youngest daughter says that would be the most you thing ever.
I agree.
I'm like, coming from the chick that put Mr. Snuffleupagus in her last Shakespeare paper, yeah, maybe it is.
The most traditional, non-traditional student.
Well, I think I think if you're going to be in academia and if you're going to do the kind of things that we do when it comes to whiskey, when it comes to like discussing ideas and talking about things, maybe you should do a little bit more than just parrot other shit, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you should try to make connections between different things, and I think a little bit of irreverence is exactly what we need.
Well, and I was also kind of a little more referring to the fact, like, you're there because you want to be. And so those that are on a different playing field may not feel like they even can go there. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
And so, you know, I think it's awesome. I totally see it being you being the one for more reason than one. But I do think that definitely has, and I mean, just the things that you've been able to experience, you know, and I think it's perfect.
I keep toying with it, and I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking about that a lot.
I mean, so I may be wrong though. So like the people that will be giving you input on your thesis, are they ones that you're already familiar with, or are they going to be new?
I have no idea.
Okay.
So one of the classes that we have to
Because that
take,
could play.
it can. I mean, really,
that's why I'm like, wait a minute, maybe I don't know.
I was really lucky.
Yeah.
So that when I did my undergrad degree, I was invited to join the honors college at Georgia Southern.
Yes.
And when you're in the honors college, you also have to do an undergrad thesis. It's like a little mini master's. And the purpose is for honor students, most of them are going to go on to graduate.
Help you prepare.
Right. And so
Yes.
you get a little bit of experience in kind of doing that.
Yes.
And I got super lucky that the mentors that I had were really great thinkers.
Yes.
Right? The thesis advisor that I ended up with, actually, he and I, when we first met, our whole 45 minutes of our first hour-long conversation was about scotch.
Yeah. Right.
Right?
Yes.
And so I'm like, oh, I'm home. This is so good. So
I just, it's definitely important for your advisor to know you.
So what happens is the first semester, I have to take a class called Introduction to Graduate Studies. That's one of the classes you have to take. And I'm assuming that those things will be decided in the course of that action.
Okay, so you're not assigned one initially before you walk in the door.
If I may put my humility aside for just a second, here's the real truth.
Okay.
My master's program is happening at the same institution that I got my undergrad at.
Yes.
And I showed the fuck up and showed the fuck out at that school, right?
Right.
So
you're getting your name out there.
and with a last name like Trepanier,
Yes.
you know you've seen me.
Right.
Like if you've seen my name, you know you've seen it. Like
Right.
it's not one of those things that just breeze by.
Yeah. You're not a Smith.
Right. And I wasn't a C student phoning
Correct.
shit in, right?
You put yourself out there.
Right? And so I think that's going to do well, and my work's not shit.
Right.
If I may say so myself.
Right. Yes, I'm
right.
very well aware.
Like I sweat over it.
Yes.
I work really hard on it. Like I don't put out bullshit. If I get to a thing and I'm
This is
studying
very
a thing,
serious.
even the paper that I put Mr. Snuffleupagus in, my professor and I discussed it because there was a huge gaping hole in my argument that I completely recognized. And we discussed it, and I'm like, I'm going to address it this way. And the way that I addressed it was pretty much saying, look, this is the hole in my argument. However, these types of inconsistencies happen in almost all of the arguments to the contrary.
Yeah.
Like the contrary arguments have the same type hole, just of a different nature. So I don't put out shit work.
Right.
So anyway, I think that maybe we have a little bit of say who our advisor is. And even if we don't, I feel confident enough in my own ability to kind of work around that.
Yeah.
And what I love is when I started looking into it, I am not the first person in academia to say this type of language is overlooked. This type of language is subjugated. So maybe the word bitch was intended at some point to subjugate women. Maybe it's still intended to subjugate women now.
By some.
However, you're lassoing, if you will, of the language and trying to pigeonhole it into this thing
Of it can only be. Yes. And
is
that's
also a form of, I don't know, whatever, because I haven't gotten that far in my
like
research
stereotyping.
yet.
Yeah.
So I love that. Okay, I can't say it anymore.
I agree.
I am opening this Basil Hayden's.
I'm in.
I really probably shouldn't do this, but
Why?
I don't.
It's already been opened.
Who opened it?
I don't know. But it's clearly been, like, the seal's off.
I don't care.
I'm sure the night when everybody was trying.
Oh, you're probably
all the
absolutely
things.
right. Okay, so what we're working with here is the Basil Hayden red wine cask finish. It says it's Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, partially finished in wine casks. See, this is where research fucks me up, because that's exactly where I would have gone to first. What does partially finished
Yes.
mean?
It
is.
You got your contacts in.
I do. He was like, you have your contacts in. You can read the bottle. Fuck you. Yes.
Love you.
Yes. Artfully aged in the James B. Beam Distillery Company. It is 40 proof. Or no, excuse me.
80.
80 proof. It is 80
Partially
proof.
finished.
Oh, I was just fixing to read the notes
Yes.
on the thing, but now I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm
Why?
not doing anything else. This will be like because I almost read the tasting notes on the bottle and then I missed it. Cheers. Ooh,
Yes.
it's spicy.
Yes.
And it's spicy right from jump. As soon as you put it in your face, you're like, ooh, that's spicy.
Honestly, even the smell.
See, I was a little surprised by the taste because I think that's what's in your mouth.
Well, okay, maybe.
Because when I smelled it, I was like, oh, that's nice.
Let me reset.
When I smelled it, I was like, oh, that's nice. But then as soon as it hit my face, I was like, wow, that's a lot. But I will tell you, I don't dislike it. I don't dislike it at all.
A blend of the classic Basil Hayden high rye mash bill and bourbon, partially aged in California red wine casks. This special release is ripe. Blah, blah, blah.
So I guess what they mean is they're bourbon, so they have to be aged in new charred oak barrels.
And so they do it partly in
there, and then the other time it's in the red wine. But I don't know that I've really ever seen it when they have cask finishes like that. I don't know that I've ever seen it quite worded that way, partially finished. Because
And
usually
I can't
it's aged. Usually they say aged, and then they say finished in.
Yes. And that there is no age statement on that, correct?
I didn't get that far.
Would you agree that it tastes young?
Yeah, I see no age statement on the bottle.
Okay, and I didn't see anything on their website either.
Well, at any rate, it's good. It's way better than the Basil Hayden's Toasted, I would say. So Booze app has a fair price of $74.15. Average MSRP and the shelf price is both $65.99.
Okay.
Speaking of which,
Yes.
and I think this will be a great closer outer. So when we're talking about price, and I can't wait for the Booze app guys to get on here.
Yes.
And I almost didn't bring this up this evening because, I don't like to talk shit about shit I don't know, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know these folks.
Okay.
But what I do know is that their Insta handle is Bourbon Troll Podcast. So when you put troll in your name, I have questions.
Yes. What are we? Okay.
Right?
Yes.
But they have a website. They have a website where they will sell you and ship you booze, right?
Oh.
So they
Like
followed
stuff you can't get type?
Evidently.
Okay.
Evidently they think so.
Okay.
they followed me on Insta, and so I really appreciated the follow. So I went on their website to kind of look. And so they've got Blanton's for $99. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. They say they have a bottle of Midwinter Night Dram, which and they say they'll let it go for $160. I almost would say, yes, I'll buy that.
What is that?
That's from High West. That was like one of the biggest drops when it was one of their limited releases.
Yeah.
And everybody was looking for it. Evidently, they say they have a bottle for $160. But then I keep scrolling. Mm-hmm. They have a bottle of Eagle Rare.
Uh-oh. Like regular Eagle Rare?
Regular Eagle Rare. What do we usually pay for it? $45.
Yes.
$45.
Including tax.
Including tax.
Yes.
You want to guess?
100.
$160.
For the 10-year.
I wish you guys could have seen Reba's face just now.
For the 10-year.
Yes. Yes. They have Buffalo Trace.
160.
130 for the Buffalo Trace. And I'm so confused.
And you can get it for 60.
Yeah, I'm so they have a bottle of Jack Daniel's Black.
Is it like a fucking handle?
No, it's just a regular bottle of Jack Daniel's Black. You want to go?
50.
120.
What? For a fifth?
At which point
But they're going to let the other bottle go for 160.
I don't know. I don't
I have
know.
questions.
I too have many questions.
Actually, I don't know if it's questions that I have as
But
much
then-
as it is like reserve.
But then they have a regular bottle of Rock Hill Farms for $100.
That was part of the drop.
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay. But then they have the Smoke Wagon. Oh, but that's the private barrel. Never mind.
Okay.
Never mind. Maybe I haven't done my research on that one. So maybe
But
that one's...
we definitely have on Eagle Rare.
Yeah,
10-year.
for real. I'm like, all right. They're Willet. They've got Willet at $135.
For the little one?
Yes. So I too now have questions. So after they followed me, they sent me a message too, because I followed them back. 'Cause
Yes.
whatever. And thanks for following back. Just want to let you know I've got great whiskeys at affordable prices. Da 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 da. To which I responded, "Hey there, I checked out your page. I'm curious about the pricing. Some of it seems really high. 3 digits for Eagle Rare? Question mark." To which the response was, "Hello, good day. So what bottles are you interested in getting, man?" And I'm like, none of them. So
So it's...
but I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it because he put troll in his Insta handle. So I'm thinking maybe whatever.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe whatever.
We'll just leave it at face value and move on.
Yeah, I did. That's exactly what I did. But
Yeah.
I thought you would find that.
Yeah.
But now, what it did do was I cannot wait for the Booze App guys to come on here.
Yes.
Because I really, really want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to talk about, like, some of the pricing that they've seen.
I'm interested even, like, about the one from High West. Like, because... Is that even on the Booze App?
Oh, yeah.
Is it?
So on Booze App, the Midwinter Night Dram runs anywhere from $220 to like $174, which
so
makes
if they have it for $160. Like, I really want to know if it's legit.
right. So now I have all of these questions.
Yeah. Like, send me a picture of it. Do they have a picture?
Yeah,
of it?
they do, but I mean, it's just the generic bottle
Oh.
picture because I just pulled it up to see, and it's all of it's generic. Like, there's no information in the write up about, you know.
And like,
which-
do you message them saying I want this bottle type thing, and then they?
Well, I messaged him going, I'm curious about the pricing.
Yeah.
To which
Yeah, you
I got this
the
bullshit
computer
answer.
operate, like the
Yeah.
generated
So I'm
computer
like,
generated reply.
The fuck ever. It's fine.
So we're not
fine.
going to find out about
So
it.
no,
Okay.
but I cannot wait to talk to the Booze App guys
Yes.
about that. So
I
I
agree.
guess what we'll do now is we'll say I've so much enjoyed spending 47 episodes with you.
And I can't wait for the next 47.
I know. I will not. I will probably not be 94 years old when that happens.
I hope not. Seeing how... No, bullshit. We did 47 episodes in, what, a year and a half?
Yes.
So, bullshit.
Yes, I won't. But I certainly hope we will be doing this still.
Yes.
When I am 94.
Sitting on our rocking chairs on the front porch. Till the next one.
Thanks for hanging out with Ape and Reba on this episode of Bitches and Bourbon.
Make sure to check out the links in the show notes, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Until next time, here's to bad bitches and good bourbon. Cheers.
I mean, you have to like spicy pickle.